The arrival. The skies over Washington, D.C. darkened as if a storm was brewing, but this was no ordinary weather phenomenon. A massive, disc-shaped object slowly descended through the clouds, its metallic surface gleaming despite the lack of sunlight. Traffic screeched to a halt. Pedestrians stood frozen in place, all eyes turned upward in a mixture of awe and terror. In the Oval Office, President Elena Reyes stared at the live feed on her tablet, her knuckles white as she gripped the device. The alien ship, for there was no doubt that's what it was, hovered ominously over the National Mall, its size dwarfing even the Washington Monument. Madame President, her Chief of Staff, Michael Chen, burst into the room, his usually impeccable suit disheveled. "We've lost all satellite communications. The Joint Chiefs are demanding action. What are your orders?" Reyes took a deep breath, steeling herself. "We need to establish contact. Let's show them we're not a threat." As if in response to her words, a beam of light shot down from the ship, coalescing into a holographic figure that towered over the mall. The being was humanoid, but clearly alien, tall, with iridescent blue skin and 4 arms. Its voice boomed across the city, broadcast simultaneously on every electronic device capable of producing sound. "People of Earth, I am Zaxthal, enforcer of the Galactic Concord. Your leaders stand accused of grave crimes against the galaxy. Surrender them immediately or face the consequences." Reyes felt the blood drain from her face. Crimes against the galaxy. What could that possibly mean? Humanity had barely left its own solar system. "Madam President," Michael whispered urgently, "we need to get you to a secure location." She shook her head. "No, I need to face this head-on, prepare a response. We're going to talk to them." Within minutes, a hastily assembled press conference was set up on the White House lawn. Reyes stood at the podium, cameras from every news outlet in the world trained on her. She took a deep breath and began to speak. "To our visitors from the stars, we welcome you in peace. We are unaware of any crimes we may have committed against the galaxy, but we are willing to discuss this matter diplomatically. I request a face-to-face meeting to address these accusations." For a moment, silence reigned. Then the alien ship began to descend further, landing with impossible grace on the National Mall. A ramp extended from its side, and a group of aliens emerged, led by the imposing figure of Zaxthal. As they approached the White House, Reyes steeled herself. This was it, humanity's first official contact with an alien civilization, and it was happening under the shadow of accusation and threat. Zaxthal strode forward, his 4 arms moving in perfect synchronization. Up close, Reyes could see the intricate patterns on his skin shifting and changing like oil on water. His eyes, a deep violet, fixed on her with an intensity that made her skin crawl. "President Reyes," he said, his voice surprisingly melodious despite its alien timbre. "Your willingness to meet is noted, but it does not absolve you of your crimes." Reyes straightened her spine, meeting his gaze. "And what crimes are these exactly? Humanity has barely left its own planet. How could we have possibly committed galactic crimes?" Zaxthal's eyes narrowed. "Your ignorance is not an excuse. Your species carries the blood of the Forerunners, a race so destructive they nearly tore the galaxy apart. You were quarantined here, on this backwater planet, to protect the rest of us. But now you've begun to reach for the stars again. We cannot allow that." Murmurs of confusion and anger rippled through the crowd. Reyes felt her head spin. Quarantined? Forerunners? None of this made sense. "I'm afraid I don't understand," she said, fighting to keep her voice steady. "We have no knowledge of these Forerunners. We are a peaceful people, seeking only to explore and learn." Zaxthal laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "Peaceful? Your history is written in blood. You wage war amongst yourselves constantly. Imagine the destruction you could cause if let loose upon the galaxy." He raised one of his 4 hands, and a holographic display appeared, showing scenes of human conflict throughout history. World wars, nuclear explosions, street riots, a damning collage of humanity's worst moments. Reyes felt her anger rising. You cannot judge us solely by our darkest hours. We have also created art, music, literature. We've made scientific discoveries, cured diseases. We are capable of great good as well as harm. Pretty words, Zaxthal sneered. But the Galactic Concord has made its decision. You will surrender yourself and your world's other leaders for trial. Resist, and we will be forced to take more drastic measures. The threat hung in the air, heavy and ominous. Reyes looked around at her staff, at the press, at the ordinary citizens watching in fear and confusion. She thought of all the people counting on her, not just in America, but around the world. She couldn't simply give up, couldn't let an alien force dictate humanity's fate. I'm afraid I can't do that, she said, her voice firm. We are a sovereign people. We will not surrender to threats or intimidation. If you wish to discuss these accusations peacefully, we are willing, but we will not simply hand over our autonomy. Zaxtal's eyes flashed dangerously. You fool, he hissed. You have no idea of the forces you are dealing with. Very well. If you will not come willingly, we will take you by force. He raised all four of his arms, and suddenly chaos erupted. Beams of energy shot from the alien ship, striking buildings and vehicles. People screamed and ran in panic. Secret Service agents swarmed around Reyes, trying to hustle her to safety. But as they turned to retreat into the White House, they found their path blocked by more aliens, these dressed in sleek, metallic armor. They moved with inhuman speed, easily outmaneuvering the human security forces. Reyes felt a hand grab her arm, not the gentle guidance of her security detail, but a harsh alien grip. She turned to see Zaxthal, his violet eyes blazing with triumph. You had your chance, human, he growled. Now you'll face the justice of the Galactic Concord. As he began to drag her towards the ship, Reyes caught sight of Michael. Their eyes met, and in that moment an unspoken plan formed. Michael gave a barely perceptible nod, then turned and ran, disappearing into the chaos. Reyes allowed herself to be led away, her mind racing. This wasn't over. Somehow, she would find a way to fight back, to prove humanity's worth. And wherever Michael was going, she hoped he would find help. As the ramp of the alien ship closed behind her, Reyes took one last look at the city she had sworn to serve and protect. Washington was in flames, the dawn of a new era for humanity, one that had begun in fire and fear. But Reyes knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had faced threats before, had overcome impossible odds. They would do so again. As the ship began to rise, carrying her into an uncertain future, Elena Reyes made a silent vow. This was not the end of humanity's story. It was only the beginning of a new chapter, one that would defy all expectations. The escape. The alien ship hummed with an otherworldly energy as it hovered above the smoldering remains of Washington, D.C. Inside, President Elena Reyes found herself in a sterile, featureless room. The walls pulsed with a faint blue light, and she could feel a slight vibration beneath her feet. Her mind raced, trying to process the events of the last few hours. Suddenly, the wall in front of her shimmered and became transparent. On the other side stood Zaxthal, his four arms crossed in a gesture of smug superiority. Comfortable, Madam President. His voice dripped with sarcasm. I hope you're ready for a long journey. The Galactic Concord eagerly awaits your arrival. Reyes straightened her back, meeting his gaze with defiance. You're making a mistake, Zaxthal. Humanity is not a threat to your Concord. We barely understand our place in the universe. The alien enforcer's eyes narrowed. Your ignorance doesn't absolve you of your species' potential for destruction. The blood of the Forerunners flows through your veins, whether you know it or not. As Zaxthal turned to leave, Reyes called out, Wait, at least tell me more about these Forerunners. If we're to be judged for their crimes, don't we deserve to know our own history? For a moment, Zaxthal hesitated. Then, with a dismissive wave of one of his hands, he replied, You'll learn everything at your trial. For now, enjoy your last views of your pitiful planet. The wall shimmered again, becoming opaque. Reyes slumped against it, her mind whirling. She needed a plan, needed to find a way out of this mess. But how could she possibly escape from an advanced alien spaceship? Meanwhile, back on Earth, Michael Chen was racing through the chaotic streets of DC. Fires raged around him, and the screams of panicked citizens filled the air. But he had a mission, one that could determine the fate of humanity. He finally reached his destination, a nondescript office building that housed one of the government's most secret facilities. As he approached, a section of the wall slid open, revealing a hidden entrance. "Thank God you made it," a voice called out. Major Sarah Hawkins, a brilliant military strategist, ushered him inside. "We saw everything on the news. Is it true? Did they take the president?" Michael nodded grimly. "They did, but we have a plan. Where's Dr. Patel?" As if on cue, Dr. Amit Patel emerged from a nearby room, his arms full of strange, glowing devices. "I'm here, and I think I might have our ticket to saving the president and proving our innocence." The trio quickly made their way to a secure underground bunker. As the heavy doors sealed behind them, they found themselves surrounded by technology that looked far too advanced to be of human origin. "What is all this?" Michael gasped, his eyes wide with wonder. Dr. Patel smiled mysteriously. "Insurance. We've been preparing for this day for longer than you can imagine. Humanity has friends out there in the stars, Mr. Chen, and they left us some gifts." As Patel began to activate various consoles, Major Hawkins turned to Michael. "We need to move fast. Our planetary defenses won't hold off the alien fleet forever. What's our play?" Michael took a deep breath. "We need to rescue the president and find proof of our innocence. Dr. Patel, you said you know the truth about these galactic crimes we're accused of." The scientist nodded, his fingers flying over a holographic keyboard. "I do, but knowledge isn't enough. We need hard evidence, and I think I know where to find it. There's an artifact hidden on Earth for millennia. If we can recover it, we might be able to prove that humanity isn't the threat the Galactic Concord believes us to be." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the bunker. Major Hawkins rushed to a monitor. "We've got company. Looks like those alien bastards found us." Michael's heart raced. "How? This place is supposed to be secret." Dr. Patel's face paled. "They must have technology that can track the energy signatures of the devices here. We need to move now." As the sounds of battle echoed from above, the trio raced deeper into the bunker. They reached a hangar where a sleek silver craft awaited them. It looked nothing like any human-made ship. "Is that?" Michael couldn't even finish the question. Dr. Patel grinned. "A gift from our alien allies. It's how we're going to rescue the president and save humanity." As they boarded the ship, the bunker's defenses began to fail. The door to the hangar burst open, revealing a squad of Zaxthal's robotic hunters. Their red eyes locked onto the escaping humans. "Hold on!" Major Hawkins shouted as she took the controls. The ship hummed to life, its systems responding to her touch as if it were an extension of her own body. With a roar of otherworldly engines, the craft shot forward, smashing through the hangar doors and streaking into the sky. Behind them, the robots opened fire, their energy weapons scorching the air. As they broke through the clouds, they saw the massive alien fleet hovering above the Earth. For a moment, Michael felt a wave of despair. How could they possibly hope to win against such overwhelming odds? But then he saw it, Zaxthal's command ship, the one holding President Reyes, and he knew they had a chance, no matter how slim. "There," he pointed. "That's where they're holding her." Major Hawkins nodded grimly. "Hang on tight, this is going to get rough." As their ship darted between the massive alien vessels, alarms blared. They had been spotted. Enemy fighters poured out of the larger ships, giving chase. "Dr. Patel," Hawkins shouted over the roar of the engines. "Please tell me this ship has some kind of weapons." The scientist's hands flew over the controls. "Working on it. This technology is advanced, but it's not exactly user-friendly. Suddenly, the ship shuddered as an energy blast grazed their hull. Michael gripped his seat, his knuckles white. Whatever you're going to do it fast. Just as it seemed they were about to be overwhelmed, Patel let out a triumphant shout. Got it. The ship's exterior shimmered, and suddenly they were invisible. The alien fighters flew past them, clearly confused. Cloaking technology, Patel explained with a grin. Now, let's go get our president. As they approached Zach Stahl's command ship, Michael couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. They were outgunned and outnumbered, facing an enemy they barely understood. But they had determination, ingenuity, and now some advanced technology of their own. This was humanity's darkest hour, but also its greatest opportunity. They would rescue President Reyes, find the artifact, and prove to the galaxy that humanity deserved its place among the stars. As their cloaked ship silently docked with Zach Stahl's massive vessel, Michael took a deep breath. The real battle was just beginning, and the fate of Earth hung in the balance. Ready? He asked his companions. Major Hawkins checked her weapon, a sleek pistol that hummed with energy. Born ready. Dr. Patel nodded, clutching a device that blinked with strange lights. For humanity. Together, they stepped into the alien ship, ready to defy all expectations and change the course of galactic history. The revelation. The corridors of Zach Stahl's ship pulsed with an eerie blue light as Michael, Major Hawkins, and Dr. Patel crept through its labyrinthine interior. Their footsteps, muffled by some unknown technology in the ship's floor, seemed thunderous in the oppressive silence. Any idea where they might be holding the president? Michael whispered, his eyes darting nervously from one alien console to another. Dr. Patel consulted a small device in his hand, its screen displaying a complex 3D map of the ship. If I'm interpreting this correctly, there's a high-security area 2 levels up. That's our best bet. As they made their way through the ship, they encountered surprisingly little resistance. The few alien crew members they saw seemed distracted, rushing from one station to another with an air of urgency. Something's not right, Major Hawkins murmured, her military instincts on high alert. It's almost like they're preparing for. Her words were cut short by a violent shudder that ran through the entire ship. Alarms began to blare, and the blue lighting shifted to an angry red. What the hell was that? Michael gasped, struggling to maintain his balance. Dr. Patel's eyes widened as he stared at his device. It's Earth. Our planetary defenses have launched a counterattack. The trio exchanged worried glances. While they were proud of humanity's resilience, this development complicated their rescue mission significantly. As they reached the high-security area, they found the door already open, its locking mechanism apparently disabled by the ship's power fluctuations. Inside, they found President Reyes, not in a cell as they expected, but standing in front of a large view screen, her face a mask of shock and awe. "Madam President," Michael called out, relief flooding his voice. Reyes turned, surprise quickly replaced by determination. "Michael, thank God you're here. But we have a bigger problem." She gestured to the view screen, which showed Earth's surface, but it wasn't the expected image of their blue and green planet. Instead, vast portions of the land were glowing with an otherworldly light, pulsing in sync with the attacks on the alien fleet. "What are we looking at?" Major Hawkins asked, her voice hushed. "The true face of Earth," a familiar voice answered. They turned to see Zach Stahl entering the room, his forearms raised in a gesture of surrender. Or shall I say, the true face of the Forerunner homeworld. Dr. Patel stepped forward, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "I knew it. Earth isn't just our home, it's a vast, ancient machine." Zach Stahl nodded grimly. "A weapon of unimaginable power, created by the Forerunners eons ago. We thought it dormant, its secrets lost to time. But now it's awakening," Reyes finished, her voice filled with wonder and fear. "But how? Why now? Before Zaxthal could answer, Dr. Patel's device began to beep insistently. He studied it, his expression shifting from confusion to shock. It's you, Madam President. Your DNA, it's activating long-dormant systems across the planet. The revelation hung in the air, heavy with implications. Reyes stared at her hands, as if seeing them for the first time. But I'm human. How can I be connected to this ancient technology? Zaxthal sighed, his alien features softening slightly. You are human, but you're also so much more. The Forerunners didn't just leave their technology behind, they left their legacy. Their blood runs in your veins, President Reyes. You are their descendant, their heir. The ship shuddered again, more violently this time. Through the view screen, they could see parts of the alien fleet beginning to retreat. We don't have much time, Zaxthal urged. The awakening of Earth's defenses has triggered a failsafe in the Galactic Concord's protocols. They're preparing to quarantine this entire sector of space, with us in it. Michael stepped forward, his mind racing. Then we need to prove that humanity isn't a threat. Dr. Patel, you mentioned an artifact. The scientist nodded eagerly. Yes, it's said to contain the true history of the Forerunners and their relationship with early humans. If we can find it. I know where it is, Reyes interrupted, her voice distant as if recalling a long-forgotten memory. I've always known somehow. Zaxthal's eyes widened. The awakening of Earth's defenses must have triggered something in your genetic memory. Where is it? Antarctica, Reyes replied, her eyes refocusing. Hidden beneath the ice for millennia. Major Hawkins checked her weapon. Then that's where we're headed. But how do we get there with the planet in chaos and the alien fleet in retreat? Zaxthal moved to a control panel, his four arms working in perfect synchronization. I can get you there. My ship is faster than anything your people have developed, but you must hurry. Once the quarantine is in place, nothing will be able to enter or leave this system. As the alien enforcer prepared the ship for their journey, Michael turned to Reyes. Madam President, are you sure about this? We're putting a lot of faith in someone who was our enemy just hours ago. Reyes met his gaze, her eyes filled with a determination he had never seen before. We don't have a choice, Michael. The fate of our entire species hangs in the balance. We have to trust our instincts, and right now, my instincts are telling me this is our only shot. The ship lurched as it changed course, streaking through Earth's atmosphere towards the frozen continent below. As they descended, they could see the chaos unfolding across the globe. Ancient defense systems activating, strange structures emerging from the ground and sea. My God, Major Hawkins breathed. Our entire history, everything we thought we knew. Dr. Patel nodded solemnly. It's all been leading to this moment. We're not just fighting for our present, we're rediscovering our past. As the ship touched down on the icy surface of Antarctica, Reyes felt a pull, an undeniable urge drawing her towards a specific location. There, she pointed, it's beneath us. Zaxthal manipulated the controls, and a beam of energy shot from the ship, melting through the thick ice. As the steam cleared, they saw it, a structure of impossible geometry, its surface adorned with glowing symbols that pulsed in time with Reyes' heartbeat. The Forerunner Archive, Zaxthal whispered, awe evident in his voice. I never thought I'd see it with my own eyes. As they prepared to disembark and enter the ancient structure, alarms blared once again. Through the view screen, they could see a shimmering barrier beginning to form in the sky above. The quarantine was beginning. Reyes squared her shoulders, her gaze sweeping over her unlikely team, her loyal chief of staff, a brilliant scientist, a decorated major, and an alien enforcer who had become an ally. Whatever we find in there, she said, her voice steady, it's going to change everything. Are you ready? They nodded, each face a mixture of fear and determination. As the ship's door opened, letting in the biting Antarctic wind, they stepped out onto the ice, ready to uncover the truth about humanity's past and fight for its future. The Forerunner archive loomed before them, its secrets waiting to be uncovered. As they approached, the glowing symbols pulsed brighter, responding to Rhea's presence. The truth about humanity's place in the galaxy was within their grasp, but time was running out. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, rested on what they would discover within those ancient walls. The Alliance. The interior of the Forerunner archive was a marvel of impossible architecture. Corridors twisted in non-Euclidean angles, and rooms seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once. President Reyes led the way, guided by an instinct she couldn't explain, with the others following close behind. As they ventured deeper into the structure, holographic displays flickered to life around them, showing scenes from Earth's distant past. They saw great cities that put their modern metropolises to shame, spacecraft that dwarfed even Zax Thal's impressive vessel, and beings that looked almost human, but not quite. The Forerunners, Dr. Pertel breathed, his eyes wide with wonder. They're us, or rather, we're them. Zax Thal nodded solemnly. The resemblance is uncanny. Now you understand why the Galactic Concord fears your kind so much. The Forerunners nearly destroyed the galaxy in their quest for knowledge and power. As they pressed on, the displays began to show scenes of conflict, massive space battles, planets reduced to ash, entire star systems collapsing. The Forerunner Civil War, Reyes murmured, the knowledge somehow bubbling up from deep within her mind. They became divided over the use of their power. One faction wanted to protect and nurture younger species, while the other wanted to rule them, Michael finished, his voice grim. Major Hawkins frowned. But what happened to them? Why aren't they still around? Before anyone could answer, they entered a vast circular chamber. In its center stood a pillar of light, pulsing with energy. As Reyes approached it, the light intensified, reacting to her presence. This is it, she said, her voice filled with certainty. The Codex. The complete history of the Forerunners, and the key to unlocking humanity's true potential. Just as Reyes was about to touch the pillar, a new voice rang out. Stop. They turned to see a group of aliens entering the chamber, led by a familiar face, Vexnar, Zax Thal's second-in-command. Zax Thal stepped forward, his forearms raised defensively. Vexnar, what is the meaning of this? The alien's eyes narrowed. I'm sorry, old friend, but I can't let you do this. The humans cannot be allowed to access this knowledge. The risk is too great. As tensions rose, with both sides reaching for weapons, a surprising thing happened. The pillar of light expanded, enveloping everyone in the room. Suddenly, they all found themselves experiencing the same vision, the final days of the Forerunner civilization. They saw the devastating conclusion of the Civil War, with both factions realizing too late the destruction they had wrought. In a last-ditch effort to preserve their legacy and protect the galaxy, the surviving Forerunners made a momentous decision. They would go into exile, seeding their DNA among the most promising young species in the galaxy, including the primitive humans of Earth. As the vision faded, everyone in the room stood in stunned silence. It was Reyes who spoke first, her voice thick with emotion. We're not their successors. We're their second chance. Vexnar lowered his weapon, confusion evident on his alien features. But the Concord has always taught that humans were a threat, a ticking time bomb of Forerunner destruction. They were wrong, Zax Thal said softly. We all were. The Forerunners didn't leave their technology as a weapon, but as a safeguard, a way to protect younger species as they grew into their potential. Dr. Pottel's eyes lit up with understanding. That's why Earth's defenses activated when we were threatened. They're not meant to destroy, but to protect. As the implications of this revelation sank in, the ground beneath them shuddered. Major Hawkins checked a device on her wrist, her expression grim. The quarantine is almost complete. We're running out of time. Reyes turned back to the pillar of light, determination etched on her face. Then we need to act now. We need to show the galaxy the truth. She reached out and touched the pillar. Instantly, energy surged through her, and the entire chamber came to life. Holographic displays erupted all around them, broadcasting the true history of the Forerunners and humanity's role in their legacy. "I'm sending this to every communication device on Earth and to the Galactic Concord," Reyes announced, her voice strong despite the strain evident on her face. "They need to know the truth." As the message spread, something remarkable began to happen. The quarantine field flickered and weakened. Ships from the retreating alien fleet began to turn back, their weapons powered down. Vexnar stared in awe at the displays. "It's working. The Concord is seeing the truth. They're calling off the quarantine." But their victory was short-lived. Alarms began to blare throughout the archive, and the structure itself seemed to groan. "What's happening?" Michael shouted over the noise. Dr. Patel frantically studied the readings on his device. "The energy output is too much. The archive is destabilizing. If it goes critical, it could take out half the continent." Reyes gritted her teeth, sweat beading on her forehead as she struggled to control the surge of power flowing through her. I can't stop it." In that moment of crisis, something unexpected happened. Zaxthal stepped forward, placing one of his 4 hands on Reyes' shoulder. "You don't have to do this alone," he said. Then, turning to the others, he called out, "Join us." The Forerunners believed in unity, in different species working together. "Let's prove them right." One by one, they stepped forward: Michael, Dr. Patel, Major Hawkins, Vexnar, and the other aliens. As each of them made contact, the energy flow stabilized. The alarms quieted, and the archive's tremors subsided. Together, they stood as a bridge between past and future, between human and alien. The knowledge and power of the Forerunners flowed through them, not as a weapon, but as a tool for understanding and cooperation. As the energy finally dissipated, Reyes looked around at her unlikely allies. Humans and aliens, former enemies now standing together. She smiled, feeling a sense of hope she hadn't dared to entertain before. "So," she said, her voice tired but determined, "what do we do now?" Zaxtal's alien features curved into what might have been a smile. "Now, President Reyes, we build a new future. Together." As they emerged from the archive, they saw a world forever changed. The truth about humanity's heritage was out, and the galaxy would never be the same. Earth's hidden Forerunner technology had awakened, not as a threat, but as a promise of protection and progress. Ships from the Galactic Concord were landing, not as conquerors, but as curious allies eager to understand this new revelation. The quarantine was lifted, and Earth was taking its first real steps onto the galactic stage. Reyes looked up at the sky, seeing not just stars now, but countless possibilities. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. They had allies now, both on Earth and among the stars. The road ahead would not be easy. There would be fears to overcome, treaties to negotiate, and a galaxy of wonders to explore. But for the first time in history, humanity was truly united, not just with itself, but with the wider galactic community. As the Antarctic sun peeked over the horizon, casting its light on the ancient Forerunner archive and the assembled group of humans and aliens, Reyes felt a profound sense of hope. Against all odds, they had not just survived, but thrived. They had defied expectations and changed the course of galactic history. The future was unwritten, full of challenges and opportunities. But whatever came next, they would face it together, as allies, as friends, as a united galaxy taking its first steps into a brave new era. The confrontation. In the months following the revelation at the Forerunner archive, Earth had become a hub of interstellar activity. The once hidden Forerunner technology was being carefully studied and integrated, transforming human society at an unprecedented rate. President Reyes, now recognized as a key figure in galactic politics, found herself at the center of a new era of cooperation and discovery. However, not all was well in the galaxy. Reports began to trickle in of a shadowy organization causing unrest in various star systems. They called themselves the Eternal Flame, a group of extremists who believed that the Forerunner's legacy should belong solely to their true descendants, namely humans. On a crisp autumn morning, Reyes sat in the Oval Office, now equipped with holographic displays showing real-time galactic news. Michael Chen, Zach Sval, and Dr. Pertol were with her, their faces grave. "They struck again," Michael reported, pulling up footage of a devastated alien colony. The Eternal Flame destroyed a Zorak research facility. Thousands dead. Reyes clenched her fists, anger and sorrow warring within her. How could they do this? This goes against everything the Forerunners stood for. Zach Sval, now Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Concord, shook his head. Fanatics rarely care about the truth. They've twisted the Forerunner's legacy to fit their own xenophobic agenda. Dr. Petal stepped forward, his eyes alight with a mix of excitement and concern. "There's more. We've decrypted some of their communications. They're planning something big, possibly right here on Earth." Before Reyes could respond, alarms blared throughout the White House. Major Hawkins burst into the room, her face pale. "Madam President, we have a situation. Multiple Forerunner sites around the globe have activated simultaneously. We're detecting massive energy buildups." Reyes stood, her mind racing. The Eternal Flame. They're trying to seize control of Earth's Forerunner tech. As if on cue, every screen in the room flickered, revealing the face of a man with burning eyes and a cruel smile. "Greetings, false leader," he sneered. "I am Cyrus, true heir to the Forerunner legacy. Your time of weakness and alien appeasement is over. Today, humanity reclaims its birthright." The transmission cut off, replaced by scenes of chaos from around the world. Forerunner structures were erupting from hidden locations, their ancient weapons turning not to the stars, but toward Earth's own cities. "My God," Michael whispered. "They're going to use our own defenses against us." Rey's eyes hardened with determination. "Not if we can help it. Zach Stahl, contact the Concord. We need every ship they can spare. Michael, initiate global evacuation protocols. Dr. Patel, I need you to find a way to shut down those weapons." As her team sprang into action, Reyes closed her eyes, reaching deep within herself to connect with the Forerunner technology humming beneath her feet. She could feel the conflict, the ancient systems struggling against the Eternal Flame's control. "Hold on," she whispered to the planet. "We're coming." Hours later, Reyes found herself aboard a state-of-the-art ship, a fusion of human ingenuity and Forerunner technology. Beside her stood her unlikely team: Michael, Dr. Patel, Major Hawkins, and Zach Stahl. Below them, Earth burned as the Eternal Flame turned its stolen weapons on those who resisted. "We've pinpointed Cyrus' location," Major Hawkins reported. "He's holed up in a Forerunner citadel that just emerged in the Himalayas. It seems to be the nexus of their control over the global network." Reyes nodded grimly. "Then that's where we're going. End this at the source." As they approached the citadel, they were met with fierce resistance. Ships piloted by Eternal Flame fanatics swarmed around them, their weapons charged with Forerunner energy. "Evasive maneuvers," Zach Stahl called out, his four arms working in perfect synchronization at the ship's controls. The battle was intense, with energy beams searing the sky and explosions lighting up the mountain range. But Reyes and her team had one advantage the Eternal Flame didn't: true understanding of the Forerunner legacy. Using her connection to the ancient technology, Reyes reached out, not to weapons, but to the Citadel's defensive systems. With a thought, she activated energy shields, protecting not just their ship, but the surrounding mountains and villages. "Now," she shouted, "take us in." Their ship streaked toward the Citadel, slipping through a gap in the enemy's defenses. With a bone-jarring impact, they crashed into one of the structure's upper levels. As they emerged from their battered vessel, they found themselves in a cavernous hall, its walls lined with pulsing Forerunner tech. At the far end stood Cyrus, his hands manipulating holographic controls, his eyes wild with power and madness. "You're too late," he crowed. "I've already activated the Global Purification Protocol. Soon, Earth will be cleansed of alien influence, and humanity will take its rightful place as rulers of the galaxy." Reyes stepped forward, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. "You're wrong, Cyrus. This isn't what the Forerunners wanted. They believed in cooperation, in nurturing life, not destroying it." Cyrus laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "Weak words from a weak leader. Let me show you true power." With a gesture, he sent arcs of energy streaking toward Reyes and her team. But instead of dodging, Reyes stood her ground. She raised her hands, and the energy stopped mid-air, held back by an invisible force. "How?" Cyrus gasped, his confidence faltering for the first time. "You may have stolen Forerunner technology," Reyes said, her voice resonating with power, "but you don't understand it. It's not about dominance. It's about balance, about bringing people together." As she spoke, the others moved into action. Dr. Patel and Michael raced to nearby consoles, working to undo the damage Cyrus had done. Major Hawkins and Zack Stahl engaged Cyrus guards in combat, their human and alien fighting styles blending seamlessly. Cyrus, enraged, threw everything he had at Reyes. Energy beams, gravitational distortions, even pieces of the citadel itself torn free and hurled as projectiles. But Reyes stood firm, drawing on the true power of her Forerunner heritage, not to destroy, but to protect. "It's over, Cyrus," she said, her voice calm even as sweat beaded on her brow from the effort. "Surrender, and we can end this peacefully." "Never," he snarled, reaching for one final, desperate attack. But before he could act, the citadel shuddered. The holographic controls flickered and died. In the sudden silence, Dr. Patel's voice rang out triumphantly. "We did it. The network is down." Cyrus stumbled back, his face a mask of disbelief. No, this can't be happening." As the power faded from his grasp, the madness seemed to leave Cyrus' eyes, replaced by fear and confusion. He looked at Reyes, seeing her not as an enemy now, but as she truly was, a leader, a protector, the true heir to the Forerunner legacy. What have I done?" he whispered, collapsing to his knees. Reyes approached him, her expression a mixture of pity and resolve. "You lost your way, Cyrus, but it's not too late to make amends." As Galactic Concord peacekeepers arrived to take Cyrus into custody, Reyes turned to her team. Despite their wariness, their faces shone with pride and hope. "We did it," Michael said, a rare smile breaking across his face. "We saved Earth." "Not just Earth," Zack Stahl added, his alien features softening with emotion. "The entire galaxy. You've shown everyone the true meaning of the Forerunner legacy." As they made their way out of the crumbling citadel, they could see ships descending from the sky, not with weapons, but with aid and support for the affected areas. Humans and aliens working side by side to rebuild and heal. Reyes looked out over the horizon, where the first rays of dawn were breaking over the Himalayas. The battle was over, but she knew their work was just beginning. There would be wounds to heal, trust to rebuild, and a galaxy of possibilities to explore. But as she stood there, surrounded by her diverse team of humans and aliens, Reyes felt a profound sense of hope. They had faced their greatest challenge and emerged stronger, not just as a species, but as part of a greater galactic community. The future was bright, full of challenges and wonders beyond imagination, and they would face it together, united by the true legacy of the Forerunners, a legacy of cooperation, growth, and endless potential. As the sun rose fully, bathing the world in golden light, Reyes smiled. The eternal flame had been extinguished, but a new fire burned in its place, the eternal flame of hope, unity, and the indomitable human spirit. The aftermath. 1 year after the defeat of the eternal flame, Earth had undergone a transformation that would have been unimaginable just a short time ago. The planet was now a shining beacon of interstellar cooperation, its cities a harmonious blend of human ingenuity and alien technology. President Elena Reyes stood at the podium in the newly constructed Global Unity Plaza, a vast open space in what was once war-torn territory. Before her stretched a sea of faces, human and alien alike, all gathered for this historic moment. My fellow citizens of Earth, honored guests from across the galaxy, Reyes began, her voice carrying easily over the assembled crowd. 1 year ago, we stood on the brink of destruction. Today, we stand united, not just as a planet, but as part of a greater galactic community. As she spoke, holographic displays flickered to life around the plaza, showing scenes from around the world and beyond. Forerunner technology, once hidden, now worked openly alongside human and alien innovations. Schools where human children learned alongside young aliens from a dozen different species. Hospitals where medical knowledge from across the stars saved lives daily. We have faced our trials, Reyes continued, and emerged stronger for them. The legacy of the Forerunners is not a weapon to be wielded, but a responsibility to be shouldered. A call to nurture life, to foster understanding, and to reach for the stars not in conquest, but in cooperation. In the front row, Reyes could see her team: Michael, Dr. Patel, Major Hawkins, and Zach Stahl. Each of them had played a crucial role in the events of the past year and in the rebuilding that followed. But our work is far from over, Reyes said, her tone becoming more serious. Even now, there are those who fear change, who cling to old hatreds and prejudices. The eternal flame may have been defeated, but their ideology lingers. It is up to all of us to show that there is a better way. As if on cue, a shimmering portal opened at the edge of the plaza. From it emerged a delegation of beings unlike any Earth had seen before, the Guardians, an ancient race tasked with overseeing galactic peace. Their leader, a being of pure energy contained within a humanoid form, floated forward. President Reyes, it said, its voice resonating in the minds of all present. We have observed your world's progress with great interest. The time has come for Earth to take its place in the greater galactic community. A hushed awe fell over the crowd. This was the moment they had been working towards, the recognition they had hoped for but dared not expect so soon. Reyes stepped down from the podium, approaching the Guardian with a mix of reverence and determination. We are honored, she said. Earth stands ready to do its part in maintaining galactic peace and prosperity. The Guardian nodded, a gesture oddly human for such an alien being. You have proven yourselves worthy inheritors of the Forerunner legacy. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. The challenges ahead will test not just your strength, but your wisdom and compassion. As the Guardian spoke, more portals opened around the plaza. From each one emerged representatives from different galactic civilizations, some familiar, others utterly alien. They formed a circle around Reyes and the Guardian, a living symbol of the unity Earth was about to join. The Galactic Concord welcomes Earth as a full member, the Guardian announced. May your voice add to our harmony and your strength to our peace. A cheer went up from the crowd, a sound of joy and hope that seemed to shake the very foundations of the Earth. Reyes felt a swell of emotion in her chest, pride, excitement, and a touch of apprehension for the journey ahead. As the formalities concluded and the celebrations began, Reyes found a moment to slip away with her core team. They gathered in a quiet corner of the plaza, each face reflecting the enormity of what had just occurred. So, Michael said, a hint of his old dry humor returning, I guess this means a lot more paperwork for all of us. Dr. Patel chuckled. I'm more excited about the research opportunities. Think of all we can learn. Major Hawkins nodded, her military bearings softening slightly. And the security challenges. We'll need to adapt our strategies to account for threats we've never even imagined. Zach Stahl, his forearms moving in an intricate gesture of respect, added, whatever comes, we will face it together. As allies, as friends. Reyes looked at each of them in turn, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "We've come so far," she said softly, "but our greatest adventures are still ahead of us." As they rejoined the celebration, Reyes couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them to this point. From the fear and chaos of first contact, through battles both physical and ideological, to this moment of triumph and new beginnings. The future was uncertain, filled with challenges and wonders beyond imagination. But Earth was no longer alone in facing that future. They had allies among the stars, the wisdom of the Forerunners to guide them, and the indomitable human spirit that had brought them this far. As the sun set on this historic day, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Reyes looked up at the stars. They no longer seemed distant and unreachable, but like old friends waiting to be visited. A galaxy of possibilities stretched out before them, and humanity was ready to take its first steps into that grand adventure. The story of Earth's rise from a quarantined world to a key player in galactic affairs would be told for generations to come. But for Reyes and her team, it wasn't the end of a story, but the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with hope, unity, and the endless potential of a species that had truly found its place among the stars. As the celebrations continued into the night, the people of Earth, human and alien alike, looked to the future with excitement and determination. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, united by a shared vision of a peaceful, prosperous galaxy. And somewhere, in the vast expanse of space and time, the ancient Forerunners looked upon their descendants with pride. Their legacy lived on, not as conquerors, but as peacekeepers, explorers, and bridge builders between the diverse civilizations of the cosmos. The eternal flame had been extinguished, replaced by an eternal light of hope, unity, and the boundless potential of life in all its forms. As Earth took its place in the galactic community, that light shone brighter than ever before, illuminating the path to a future limited only by the depths of their imagination and the strength of their unity.